Here's another Working Out with Aaron Briggs video. Aaron, what are we doing today?
Yeah, today is strength workout, and we're gonna have a focus on our lower body. So like we always do, we're gonna invite you to begin with us by warming up with the movements that we're gonna do for our strength. And our first movement is what's called a split squat. Now this is really similar to a lunge. In fact, most people are like, well, isn't this a lunge? And it's a picky point. Really, the only difference between a split squat and a lunge is with the lunge, you're actively stepping forward and back or to the side, right? Your foot is moving, and in this one, it's not. Again, don't get caught up in the words of it. If you want to call this a lunge, call it a lunge. It's totally fine. And the idea is that, again, you're kind of just lowering yourself down towards the ground. You'll see us, I work out by a wall in case I want a little help with my balance. Our goal for you for this first round is really just to get a feel for the exercise, to look and feel good, make sure it feels right, okay? And again, we do both sides today. And then we're going to move on to our next exercise, which is called a single leg deadlift. And again, deadlifts are the simplest way to think about them is you're reaching towards the ground and then standing back up. I always like to think if I'm picking something up from the ground, then I've basically got this one down. And there's lots of ways to do this. You'll see me balancing on one leg. Again, I'm using the wall. Right before that, if you want to pause it and rewind it, there's something called a staggered stance deadlift. And that's where you actually keep both feet on the ground. You just put one a little farther behind the other one. And it still is a deadlift. It's still like doing it on one leg. It just takes away the balance requirements. So again, feel free to mix and match. As always, move the best way you know how. And don't get too caught up in trying to do it right, in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Certainly not perfect. We don't care about perfect here, right? This is practice. Nothing more than that, okay? So once you've done those movements, again, we'll talk about there is an optional core movement today, and we kind of practice our core movements so that we can build them up to something bigger a little later on. One of the ones we like a lot is called a walkout, and you'll see what we're doing here is keeping our feet for the most part planted, and we're just walking our hands as far out as we can take them. It feels a little challenging, but not to the point where we fail, right? Big F, fail. And yeah, you're just kind of playing around with this one. Now, for my people who love knowing the roadmap, exactly what's going to happen today, all 4 leg movements, right? So split squat on your right side, then on your left side. Those are each going to be 60 seconds, okay? And we're going to get rolling here in 3, 2, 1, go ahead and begin. We jumped into that one quick. All right, now we're moving here. Now the idea is with this split squat is it's round 1. We're gonna go 4 rounds of everything today. It's gonna be about an 18-minute workout. If you're watching the stopwatch, if you're including our warm-up time, it's gonna be closer to 20 minutes. Again, you're gonna be able to rock this today. No matter what you're doing, this first round is just feel good, right? Have fun with it. Make sure that you look and feel good. We will dial it up later on. For right now, move smoothly. Knees down, stand up tall and proud. You've got about 20 seconds left. Keep rolling. How are you feeling here, Megs?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I actually did the whole workout today without any weights. And even though it's a strength workout, I was feeling the burn. And I actually really liked doing it without weights because I was able to work on my balance.
And switch legs. Yeah, that's one of the fun parts about it. Kind of that little...
Yeah, the strength workout without the weights means that we're focusing a little bit more on where our bodies are instead of holding that weight up. And that's what I really liked about doing it without weights was that I just was able to kind of catch myself and I almost fell over even. But also just really focus on my posture. And I was making sure that even in this one, I had to really kind of like keep my shoulders up. I really wanted to like crouch down naturally. And so I was looking up and even looking on the wall, at a place on the wall that was fairly high up in front of me.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And I like... when you talk about that, what you're helping kind of all of us do is remind ourselves that there's lots of ways to do this right, to do what looks good and to do what feels good. And that's really is, we keep saying it, right? Your first intention is to do that, to take this time and really make them look and feel good here. Okay, 2, 1, let's switch to those deadlifts. And I want to bring up another thing Maggie said. Right now, we're actually both going body weight. And that's one thing that we're always going to try to do is with pretty much every workout, we're going to make sure that you can do this with no equipment. We know that sometimes it's hard to come by. Maybe you're still just new and getting into it, and that's okay. If you don't have the stuff, if you feel like that's intimidating, we don't really want that to be an excuse for you, right? We want that to we want you to be able to come as you are and just move and really find the joy in doing that. So again, whatever you're comfortable with doing, you go ahead and practice it. And the reminder is that you do not have to look like Maggie and I. Your form doesn't have to be what ours is. You're just mimicking what we're doing to the best of your abilities. And you've got about 10 more seconds here before we switch legs. Keep going. And the reminder, you absolutely can keep a leg down on the ground. That's okay. 2, 1, go ahead and switch.
Yeah, or like Aaron said, you can kind of be next to a wall so that you can catch yourself, or next to a piece of a chair, or really anything. I know sometimes at clubs, like at the gym, people will be next to something that they can just rest their arm on in order to really, especially if they're lifting a weight, in order to, just kind of keep their balance and keep the focus on those legs that we're lifting instead of just falling all over the place.
yeah, totally. And you've got about 30 seconds here. Keep rolling. Now remember, we're getting to the end of round 1. And again, it's okay if it doesn't feel like hard exercise yet. That's not really our intention. If it does, rock on, keep going. That's totally fine. Yeah. But right now, your main focus is, do I look good? Do I feel good? If the answer to that is yes, you are nailing it, and you're going to be primed for dialing things up in our next set. Okay? Here's the point where we're going to go ahead and take our little break. Go ahead and if you want to, either take a rest or you can join me for that little core movement. And that core movement is only going to be 30 seconds. So again, the quick math, our rounds are about 4.5 minutes long. We're going to go 4 of them. That equals about 18 minutes of stopwatch time here. Okay? We are almost done. Keep rocking.
Yeah, and feel free to just do like deadlifts or, not deadlifts, down dog reps, or just something that's even a little easier than those walkouts.
2, 1, let's go ahead and begin those split squats. Now for round 2, again, follow us, kind of follow along, make it look like us, but let's go ahead and talk about our intention, which is to make it a little bit better. I like to use the shortcut phrase, which is dial it up, and there's lots of ways to do that. You can flex your core, you can stand up a little taller, you can add some weight. And now that I've said that, I'm going to go ahead and draw attention to me real quick. You see I'm wearing my Disney princess backpack, my daughter's, but that's a real fun and easy way to add a little weight. It's you can put books in there, water bottles, be creative with what you put in there. And the really cool thing about a backpack is you can hold it a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
Right? I've got it on my shoulders. And
exactly.
When I switch to the next leg, I'm going to hold it in front. You can hold it in my hands. You really can kind of have be creative with how you're going to hold that. And it's a simple way to add weight, and adding weight is almost always a way to dial it up.
Go ahead and switch in 3, 2, 1.
Very good. All right, so again, knees are dropping down towards the ground. You drop as low as you want. If you have some, stiff knees or hips, you might not be able to touch the floor, and that's totally fine. You get as low as what feels good for you, and then when you stand up tall, stand up proud, add a little flex in there. We keep in mind that even when we're dialing it up, even when we make our form a little bit better, right? It all feels a little bit better. We keep that intention from round 1 of looking good and feeling good. We stack what we're doing here. And you've got about 30 more seconds. Keep going. By now, if it feels like a little exercise, again, rock on. It's still not our intention. We know that fatigue is building. We know that's coming up there. And you've got about 10, 15 seconds left here. Shake it out whenever you want.
I was going to say, I was definitely fatiguing already, Aaron, so...
You're feeling it. 3,
it was feeling like
2,
exercise already
1.
for me.
Let's switch to that deadlift. Switch to that deadlift, please. Okay, now again, your intention here is to dial it up. So as you're aiming, as you're lowering that weight to the ground, whether it's a backpack or your body weight, you're still standing up tall and proud. We kind of use the same vocabulary here as when we're doing our split squats. Keep going.
Yeah, you kind of keep that, keep the crown of your head towards the wall away from you. So that way you're kind of like almost concentrating on having good posture even when you lean over. That's something that I kind of try to remember when I'm doing deadlifts. And I was feeling a little tightness in my hip, and so for this round I decided to do just both legs for that first minute. Just a regular, 2-leg deadlift. But for the second minute, I'm going to switch legs every 30 seconds. So just if you're looking, I know a lot of people do these workouts without looking at the screen. They just listen to what we're doing. So that's fine too. I just wanted to make sure that you guys kind of knew.
And switch legs if you haven't already.
Knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, Nikki's not doing it. So Aaron, you're holding your weight in a little bit of a different way this time.
Yeah, the backpack, what I like about it is you can hold it in a bunch of different ways. So the first round I was holding it with both hands, and this round I'm holding it in one, and I'm starting on the same leg that I'm balancing on, right? So I'm balancing on my left leg, holding it in my left arm, and now you'll see me switching to the other side. Holding it in one side is an awesome way to go ahead and get a little core work in there, and it's really kind of fun because I always use the word fun. You have to remember when I use the word fun, it's in quotation marks. It's interesting because it trains you to try not to rotate, right? Like whenever you're holding a weight on one side, your body naturally wants to bend or spin towards that side, and you not
because
doing
of gravity
that.
pulling us,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. You not doing that is a big part of what makes that extra work, right? So it's kind of an interesting way to do that. Okay.
All right, now's our chance to stop doing the deadlifts, and we're gonna do those walkouts. If you're choosing to do that core exercise with us, remember this is a chance for you to rest, maybe walk around a little bit, get some water, or if you like, you can do these walkouts with us. They're kind of a fun little movement. I feel like an inchworm when I do these little insect a little bit. And then we're going to get ready to do that split squat again coming up here. And Aaron is going to do these ones with a band.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and start if you haven't.
Part of what we're doing is we realize that kind of the 2 or 3 ways that people do their workouts with resistance is they either have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, right? Something solid. Some people have a band, maybe just a band. And then some people don't have anything, right? And so what we always are trying to do is have, again, that body weight workout or that creative weight workout. That's where the backpack comes in. You should see us doing weights with a band, and then last of all with like a kettlebell or a weight. So again, anything that I'm doing, you should be able to kind of mimic no matter what you have. Again, it's just the idea is you can kind of follow along if you need to there. Okay, you've got about 20 more seconds. And one thing that you'll see me doing with my band is I'm constantly testing out different positions of it to really go with what feels best. Again, anchoring back to that first intention that we have is making it look and feel really good. And sometimes you got to play around with where you're holding that band to do that. What I did now, go ahead and switch legs. Yep. What I did now is I actually stood on both ends of the band and held it like I was holding something low. This is actually what felt the best for me. To do that. But again, it might feel different for you.
Yeah, and people have different like strength bands as well, and so it really does depend on what feels good for you. And again, like I said, I did this with all body weight, and I was like, oh my goodness, like my legs are burning. So you can see me shaking it out, especially as the workout goes on. I kind of took those 3 breath rests here and there to make sure that I wasn't just overly fatiguing my muscles. Also, I couldn't just keep going. It was it was a good, really, really good workout. So
which brings us to our third intention, which is kind of pay attention to how it feels now, right? Does it feel like exercise is always the question that I ask my people. 3, 2, 1, let's switch to those deadlifts. And again, feel free to pick that free leg up. Feel free to keep it on the ground. You're going to see me keeping it on the ground.
Oh,
that
there I see,
stance here, okay? And intention-wise, you're starting to think, whew, this feels like exercise. And if it already has been feeling like exercise, keep it going, right? You don't have to do anything different. Just maintain what you've been doing. You're rocking it. If it doesn't feel like exercise yet, now is when you want to think, okay, what can I do? Do I need to speed it up? Do I need to go a little deeper? Do I need to go a little farther, right? What can I do to make it feel a little more challenging for myself? And like I said, most people are probably just fine. Like, you're crazy, it already feels challenging. If that's the case, keep going. Again, you're still doing fine. But it's worthwhile to practice a little reflection. That's something that we always try to do. And you've got about 10 more seconds here. You've done a nice job. This is getting towards the end of round 3. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch legs. You've got 1 more minute before we get to that break. And again, build on with those intentions. Make it look and feel good. Every time you come up, focus on your form to dial it up a little bit. Get a little tighter, get a little stronger. and then string it all together so that it feels like exercise. I always like to tell my people that there's, kind of 3 different levels. Exercise can feel easy, it can feel medium, or it can feel challenging. And if it's okay if it feels easy, it totally is. You'll still get stronger from it. You'll get a little more out of it if it's somewhere in that medium to challenging range, if it's a day that you can do it. And so again, we always pay attention to how you're moving. You've got about 15 more seconds. Keep rolling, stay smooth. We're always looking for awesome control. I'd much rather have my people do really good reps rather than make them feel really challenging, right? That's always a key. 2, 1, go ahead and end that round. And again, if you want the next 30 seconds for water or rest, take it. If you need longer than that, take it by all means. The beauty of that pause button is what allows you to do that. If you'd like to join me for those walkouts and work your core a little bit, maybe even work on a little mobility, it's like you're getting into a down dog rep, you can do that as well, okay? And then get ready for our last set. It's already here. We're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Split squats. 2 more minutes. Once more on each leg. Keep rolling. Now again, your form hasn't changed here. You still look good. You still feel good. Every time you stand up, you're standing up tall. You're standing up proud. Your form is solid. You're locked in. And because of last round, we know that it feels like exercise. It's somewhat challenging. So now with this fourth and final round, you're just gonna finish well, right? That's your last intention, is to take it all the way home and just make sure that you're doing all that you need to do to finish it really well. And you've got about 20 more seconds before we switch legs. Keep going.
Yeah, you're in the last round. I know Aaron said, it's already the last round. And some of you might be thinking, oh, it took forever to get here. But at the same time, it's kind of that glass half full, half empty, right, Aaron? But yeah, you guys are doing great. Go ahead and take those deep breaths if you need to.
2, 1, switch legs, please.
And just think about it. Starting your movement, starting your workout for the day is the hardest part. You're almost to the end. Yeah. And after that, you can say, oh, look at what I did.
Check.
I did that. I can be proud of myself. I can feel good about my choices. I can, reflect on something that I did good for my body, and I'm taking care of myself. I think those are all really great things that come from moving around, even just a little bit, even for about 20, 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, I love the positivity with that. It's a helpful thing to be able to say that this is helpful. Right? That's kind of the hope here. Okay, now one last tip before our time runs out here for these split squats is I'm holding the kettlebell, could be a dumbbell, right, just as easily, and there's different ways to hold it, right? In front of your chest is more goblet style, down with one hand, like we talked about with those deadlifts, is a way to increase your core work a little bit. 3, 2, 1, let's switch to your deadlifts. And again, this is the last 2 rounds, last 2 minutes of your workout. And play around what looks and feels good here too. Again, I've been a really big fan of this staggered stance deadlift. The balancing part is interesting. It definitely keeps me engaged. I feel like I can do this movement better if I keep a foot on the ground. So again, this is really turning into a personal preference for me. I'm really enjoying these staggered stance ones. The balancing ones, again, keep it interesting if you're bringing that foot up. But these have been a little more quotes fun for me. Now, either whatever you're doing, again, the intentions of this are the same. Look and feel good here. The easiest way to look and feel good, I always tell people, Maggie said, kind of point the top of your head towards the wall. And I think in opposite terms, I'm always trying to touch whatever wall is behind me with my rear. Really sticking my butt out. Yeah.
Touch the front with your head and the back with your rear,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Go ahead and switch legs. And the same applies if you are balancing. You can think about reaching and touching it with your rear, but I'll always use the farthest body part back. So now my foot is reaching towards that back wall. Again, still coming up strong and tall and proud. That's the way to dial it up. It feels like exercise, right? If you can say that it's moderate or challenging, you are in your sweet spot. You keep going. You've got about 30 more seconds.
Yeah, this workout, this movement specifically with the one leg and bending over, I felt a ton in my core, and it was really great because I was like, oh man, I'm loving where I'm feeling this. Like, I feel like it's gonna make me look so good when I'm done with this. So I really loved doing these movements, just feeling like, okay, this is gonna help me look toned, like in all the places I kind of want to.
Yeah, you're gonna be strong. You're gonna be capable. You're gonna be slimming down. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations on finishing the big stuff. If you want to wrap it up with that last walkout, or I'm about to do a down dog rep here just to lengthen it out, you can join us. If you want to just stand and kind of shake it out and let that heart rate settle down, that works too. You've got about 15 more seconds before we call it a day. So again, little recap. 1, it was a strength day. You got stronger today. You lifted heavy. 2, you went for 18 minutes non-stop on that stopwatch. 20 minutes if you're counting that warm-up time. That was a heck of a workout. We love that you joined us. Fantastic work today.
Way to go, gang. We've got all sorts of different time length videos on our channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make it a great day.